Good evening. Good evening. Pray that you all had a blessed day. Welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back. Today was radiation day 4. So I'll be picking up from where I left off from the breast cancer journey from day 3, and we'll continue on from there. I'm not doing hair tonight. I'm just in the bathroom again because it has the best light right now without me having to do too much. And I did the hairstyle last night. Didn't work out how I wanted it to, but I did wear it today. And then just right before I got on, I'm gonna tie this down, but I did just put a little water in it and brush it down. And then this is just what it's looking. It's kind of sticking up right there, but yeah, I'm just gonna tie this down and just wear it like this. I don't know what to do, what else to do to it right now until I learn how to do these finger waves on my own. I'm gonna learn and the right products, but yeah. So I'm picking up where we are. I have had the appointment scheduled for the chemo doctor. So this will be my first chemo appointment, which was actually ended up being the very next day, which is crazy because I'm telling you, they set your appointments up like you're just getting so many phone calls. Can you come in for this? Can you do that? Can you do that? So have all these appointments set up. And at this time I had went ahead, and I think my last day, because like I said, that first week was just I was so bombarded that by that next week, the week I found out, by that Friday, that was my last day. Because that next week was full of appointments. And so it looks like that was a Wednesday. So February 1st was when I met with the chemo doctor. I met with the main oncologist. They fax over all your results. And so they already have a plan that they work up, and they tell you, what the plan is, why they're handling it the way they're handling it, side effects. They go over the drugs that they're going to use, the chemo drugs that they're going to use, and the plan. So my total plan was supposed to be for a total of between 16 and 20 weeks. Because it just depends on if you have any delays, any setbacks. There's different things that can cause you to have setbacks with the medicine, how your body handles it. So they just have a range. So my range was like between 16 and 20 weeks. So I went in and met with the main oncologist, and she had a nurse practitioner that also worked closely with her. And she would alternate with her in between. Like I would see the oncologist, sometimes it was every other week, but then sometimes it just depends. It was like once every 3 weeks, like when I got to the other medicine. So let me explain. So the first, I had 2 separate rounds of treatment. My first round was for 8 weeks, and I would go and get treatment every other week. So it was going to be a total of 4 treatments in those 8 weeks. And then the type of drug that I was going to have to use for those 8 weeks, one was called adriamycin and one was called Cytoxan. Those were the 2 drugs that were going to be used. And then for the next set, it was going to be between 8 and 12 weeks. They didn't know how many treatments I would need on the second medicine, which was called Taxol. On that medicine that drug, I would go every week. So the first set of drugs, every other week. The second set, every week. And they considered and said that they advised me that the adriamycin and the Cytoxan was the more potent drug. That was the one that was the stronger one, and they wanted to give me that one first to see how I would handle it, how my body would handle it. Because normally people would get the Taxol first, so they would come every week and then they would slow down on treatment, but mine was the total opposite. I came in every other week first, then every week after when I got to the second set. with the adriamycin and the Cytoxan, they did let me know that that causes nausea. Some people vomit. You can get achy bones just from the treatment, from the chemo. Achy bones was a side effect. Hair loss over your entire body is what they advised me. Like, and they said it would start coming out probably like within like after the first round. So by like my second round, so by week 3 is what they were telling me that all my hair should start coming out. So I was like, okay. So they give you like a lot of information. They tell you, you know, I was like wondering like what to eat. Like, was there any restrictions? What should I eat? What should I eat? But there was like, there was no restrictions. Like, they just said, eat what you want to eat. So I was like, oh, okay. And then after that, so after they gave me all the information about, you know, what drugs were going to be used and how often and all of that, they did take my blood because they needed to see my levels. They had like a baseline, but they had to have accurate levels. So they do draw every week. So they took my blood that day, so that I had to come back again and get a final overview to go over everything that was going to be done and when I was going to start. Let's see. I did write. I do have something in front of me just to make sure. So if that was the first, we were in the midst of getting ready to head to my mom's hometown, and which was also my baby sister's father's hometown, because in the previous video I was saying that he had passed away. Her father had passed away, and at this time I hadn't shared with my family or anyone, you know, that what was going on. But backing up, I'm remembering that I believe that Sunday, which would have been, let's see, that Sunday before. So it had to be like, at some point I end up telling my aunt. I can't remember. I really don't. I can't remember if I told her before I got back or after I got back. But I do remember telling her that my aunt, which was on my husband's side, that I had breast cancer. And I was letting her know because she had been through it as well, and she was recovering, and so when I remember when I told her, I remember just breaking down. Like, it was after like Sunday school or something, and I just remember, you know, letting her know, hey, it is breast cancer. So I believe at some point prior, I must have said to her, hey, I'm having have to get a biopsy done. I must have shared with her little bits and pieces, because I just remember like that Sunday, that day that I had told her that it was what it was, like, oh yeah, it definitely is this. But I remember when I told her, I guess me saying it out loud to somebody else besides my husband, I just broke down. Like, I just remember just as I'm saying it, I just started bawling, and you know, she just wraps her arms around me, and she's just like, you know, you got this, God's got you. And she was just like, I don't feel like this is the death of you. She said, I feel in my spirit that this is just part of your making. This is part of who God is molding you molding you to be. This is part of your testimony. This is part of your walk. And so she just began to speak life and just whatever. But I felt the Lord, the presence of the Lord in the midst of her speaking to me. And yeah, it was just so unexpected, because I was not expecting to just bust out crying. Like, I hadn't really even cried. Like, I shed tears. Like I said, I was thinking about, even when I was thinking about when my life flashed before my eyes, that was enough. But I mean, my tears were flowing, but it wasn't like I bust out like a breakdown. That was the first time I ever broke down crying. And so after that, so now we're headed to go to the funeral. Like I said, I hadn't even told my children at this time. And I was getting ready to, we were heading down. So I talked with my husband, had decided that I was going to tell them while we were down there, because my sisters were supposed to all be down there for the funeral, and then my brothers weren't, so I was gonna have to make a phone call to them. I really wanted to tell people face to face, and I wanted to tell my mom, but I wanted to wait until after the funeral. But so going back, if I remember correctly, I must have at that appointment known that I had a start date coming soon, and so with that being said, if so, I wanted to go ahead and let them know before the treatment started. I didn't want to let them know after. So I remember after the funeral and everything was done, I remember, I believe it was late Saturday night, because we were going to get ready to head back home that Sunday morning. And I also have a brother on my father's side, and we're really close, and I wanted to let him know as well while we were there, because he lives back home too. So I wanted to make sure I told everyone. I didn't get to tell my family while we were there, like my family on my mom's side. I didn't get to tell any of them at the time, because I hadn't spoken to my mom yet, and I didn't want to, even though we were all hanging out and talking and spending time together, I didn't feel right telling anyone else before I told my mom. And so I waited until, like I said, it was like late Saturday evening, and I went by my mom's house. We had been out doing something, I guess, previously, so went by my mom's house, and so just two of my sisters were there. My baby sister and then my other sister. And so I was like, hey, and, I got some news I need to share with you all. And they're all looking at me, and I'm smiling, because it's like, okay, what's about to be said? They're looking. And then I said, I just said it. I said, I have breast cancer, and I'm getting ready to start treatment soon, and I have to go through chemo and all of that. I just, I didn't think I would tear up. I'm just thinking about seeing my sister's face, and my mom. My mom, she just had a concerned look on her face. She didn't say much. She just, they listened. And my youngest sister, she was kind of shocked, because, she had just, like I said, it wasn't the best time, but I did need to tell them because everything was moving so fast. So I shared with them what was going on, and like I said, I was getting ready to start treatment soon. And so, like I said, my sister's crying. My baby sister, she's in shock. My mom, she's kind of in shock too. She was just lost for words, and so she just began to speak life over me as well, and she began to pray over us. And the next day, I ended up going to that morning before we left, I went over to my brother's house, and my mom ended up coming over too. And so we were all there, and I was like, hey, like again, we just making small talk. Nobody knows nothing's going on, but my sisters did, of course, and they just had that look on their face again, like, when are you gonna say it? So we're all sitting there, and I ended up sharing. I told my brother, and again, and his wife, and here, the waterworks are flowing again, but I just thank God for my family. I thank God, just how, they love me. I love them. They were concerned about me. I appreciated every prayer, every ounce of support, whether I seen them or not. I thank God for them. I thank God for us being close enough to even be able to talk. So I shared with them. And then on my way home, I had to share with my two sisters. I shared with them, and I had to call them on the phone and share with them. And then my brothers, I ended up calling them as well. I wanted, all my siblings to be aware of what was going on. I didn't want them to hear it from anyone else. You know, I wouldn't want to hear some kind of news like that from someone else. So I made sure I shared with them. And then after that, I began to share with those who I talked to on a regular basis. And those were the ones that were closest to me at the time and still are close to me now. Those are the ones who I shared with, and then that was it. So it was just like basically my mom told my family, I let her do that. So she shared with my family, and they all began to reach out and just love on me, encourage me, and let me know that they were praying for me. My friends, my good friends, everybody that I told, you know, it was just this person breaking down or this person breaking down. And I didn't cry. I think because I had just cried, you know, I had already cried before, and I'm not a big crier. But, you know, I knew that I wanted to be able to tell these people face to face. And so the ones that I was able to, and I think maybe a couple I had to call. But each person, you know, I know it hurt their heart, and they just was like, you know, I know God's got you. I mean, this is everybody. I know God's got you. It's just that I hate that it's you. I hate that it's you that have to go through this, but whatever you're going through, we're here for you. And each and every person that had said that stuck to it. They stuck to their word, and they were there for me. Regardless if I called them or not, regardless if they text me and I didn't text back right away, regardless if, you know, it had been time that had went by, they stuck to it. They didn't change on me. So just in the very, very beginning, I just had a very small group of people that I was able to share with. Once I got back from the funeral, once we got back, that Monday, I had to go ahead and get my port placement. And like I said, so let me go back. That Sunday, I think it was that Sunday, was it that Sunday night? So I must have had to tell my children that night. I believe it was that Sunday night. I can't remember if it was the 12th or if it was on the 5th. Because I found out that I had to start chemo February 15th. So I had to start chemo on February 15th was my start date. So we had to tell the children at some point in between there, and I also had to get my port placement. And I'm believing I told them before the port placement because I knew that they would want to hug me or be on me, and they would see the change, and I wasn't like I would need to be hiding something like that from them. Excuse me. So I did tell them, we did, you know, call them. It was later in the evening, like I said, so it must have been that night when I got back. We called them together, my husband and I, and we were all in our room, and, you know, my kids are funny because it's like, you know, we got something to, you know, talk with y'all about, and they were like, y'all have another baby? No! Oh, Lord Jesus. I think some people even asked me that when I was telling them, is it another baby? No, no babies here. But I remember when we all got together, and I'm just sitting in the middle of the bed, and, you know, everyone, they're whether kneeling down, laying on the bed, we're all just together. And I went ahead and said, you know, Mom is, you know, I said, Mom has breast cancer, you know, I have breast cancer. And they knew I had went to, had an appointment because I had mentioned something like, well, the only person that knew was my oldest daughter. She knew that I had to had a doctor's appointment because I was having a pain. So I think she never said anything about it, but she later on told me that she was concerned, or she was worried that maybe Mama has breast cancer or something's going on because of, you know, she was home to see me go here and go there, whereas the children, they were at school, so they really didn't see all these appointments that I was going to. And so, you know, we're all there, and we're, you know, I said, Mom has breast cancer, and they're all looking. I see the sadness in their face, and then my second oldest, she's laying next to me, but her back was to me, and my husband was over in between some of the other children, and so, you know, we were just scanning, and I'm just talking. I'm giving them some information about what's going on and something that's getting ready to happen. I'm asking them how they're doing, how they're feeling, and some of them eyes are tearing up. But my daughter, she's next to me, and my husband walks over to her because her back, I'm just rubbing her back, and she's under the cover. And so he goes over and he pulls the cover back, and he's like, you know, are you okay? And, you know, so, I mean, he couldn't even get the word out. You know, he pulls it back, and she's bawling under there, and then he breaks down. And now it's his first time really just breaking down, and it was just like, I was just like, I can't. I said, please separate, please. I was like, please separate, please. I said, I can't. I said, my heart can't take it. My heart can't take it. I couldn't take just watching all of them just, you know, if they all were going to break down. I didn't know how they all were going to respond. But I figured they were going to cry, but I wasn't expecting, you know, my husband to break down the way he did. But I mean, it was understandable because he hadn't. And so, you know, I just had to love on them, just let them know Mama's all right, God's got us. My oldest son, he's the one, he asks a lot of questions, so he's just asking questions. And so I ended up having to get that port placed the very next day. So I was letting them know, hey, I have to get this port placed. And so my port, this is how you get your IV infusions. They can't put an IV through your arm because they say that it will burn your veins. It's very strong. It's too strong to go through your veins. So they have to go through a major artery that connects straight to your heart. So not too far down, but if you can see it, it's right here. They cut you here, I guess, and put this little, it looks like okay, so if you can imagine a car freshener, one of those little car fresheners that got that little liquid in the middle, it's that kind of shape. It's like a square like that, but it has a silicone center and that's where they puncture to go through. So I was letting them know that, so just in case I'm sore and stuff like that, so I ended up having that the very next day. They give you this little, they do take me to like an operating room, and they have to have like this x-ray machine to be able to place it right and get into the right spot. Excuse me. And excuse me, I thought I heard one of my children talking to me. That's why I kind of got distracted. But so they give you like a little medicine just to kind of relax you. They said you may or may not go to sleep. But I fell asleep. I fell asleep in like 2 seconds. They said some people are just like, you know, they're just a little drowsy. It doesn't hurt because they give you they numb it and everything like that. But y'all, I don't know. Just give me a little something. I'm out. I think because I'm always tired anyway. I think I'm always tired, so just a little bit of something has knocked me out. So I got that port placed, and like I said, after that, I just went through telling people, just getting ready for that day. Okay, yeah, they were calling my name, but I'm back. So I was just going through, like I said, all the way up until the time until, like I said, I knew I was gonna start on February 15th. And yeah, February 15th. And so I was just taking the time to talk with each one that I needed to. So I thank God for everyone who was in my corner, everybody that that's been there for me, everybody that God placed on my heart to share with, because though it was a small support system, it was actually big to me, but it was small. I thank God for just him just keeping me even through it all. Even though that was a heavy burden, I was thankful that he did allow me to share, because I don't think I could have held that the whole way through. That would have been a lot for me to have to hold. So I thank God for him allowing me to share, and those people who have been pouring into me, talking with me, just encouraging me, reaching out. I thank God for, I just thank God for it all. And I just thank God for you all who later on did find out, and those who have reached out, those who have been praying for me behind the scenes, whether I knew that you were praying or not. Excuse me, I thank you, because I did feel the prayers. I felt it. I felt the love. I know a lot of people at some point began to see the different changes that did begin to happen, but maybe didn't know, you know, because a lot of people would tell me, I didn't know, because you don't look like it. A lot of times I would look just like this, with a wig on. But as I continue to share, I'll continue to go on. Tomorrow will be day 1 of treatment, so I'll be able to share day 1 of treatment. It may not be as long of a video, or it may, but I pray that again that you guys are encouraged. It's helpful for me to get it out, to share. However God wants to use what I've been through, I'll allow him to do it. So thank you for taking time to share. Again, like, subscribe, notifications, sign up for the notifications so you can keep track. And tomorrow, again, because I haven't went live, tomorrow I will be sharing the link. So once you get to this, know that September 1st was the day that I had decided to go ahead and share that I was doing and started my channel. It's called Life After, because it's just basically the life after breast cancer, my life from here, moving forward, going on. Yeah, just basically life after, just how we moving forward, how I'm doing, just I guess me progressing, getting better, getting stronger. Hey, watching my hair grow. Just our life, my life, my family's life, maybe sometimes with you all, just life after. So thanks again. You guys have a blessed evening. Have a restful night's sleep, because I'm praying I get me a restful night's sleep as well. See you tomorrow.